What's the prevailing emotion after that, Steve?
Pretty serious innings. I thought we were in a pretty good position at one point there, with them needing around 2 a ball. Thought 160 was about par on that wicket, and it just took a seriously unbelievable innings under pressure by Virat Kohli to get his team over the line.
Was there anything Nathan could have done in that second last over, mate, or was that the kind of form
He perhaps could have taken the pace off a bit more. I think he did it 2 balls, and Virat didn't get any bat on both of those, and then he seemed to bowl more on pace and went to the boundary. It just looked like anything Virat was going to do at that point was going to go to the boundary. So it was a serious innings, and hats off.
What do you sort of say to Nathan after going through something like that?
Oh, it's always difficult. I think you've just got to keep your head up, and we always face these sort of situations in cricket. It's the game. You don't always come off. You just have to learn from it and try and get better.
Well, Steve, just your own wicket. Snicko didn't show anything. You looked pretty disappointed at that point.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I hit that, but that's the game of cricket. I got given out, so that was the umpire's call, and that was it. So it was a bit disappointing, but that's the game of cricket.
Just you didn't bowl Adam Zampa out. What's the reason behind that?
I just thought at that period of time they were just starting to go. I thought the quicks could do the job bowling the ball into the wicket, like they did so well in the last game. It just wasn't to be tonight. It was the Virat show. He really took over, and to get 80 not out off 50 balls on a wicket like that was quite slow, and the ball was quite soft at the end there. It was quite remarkable.
If you had your time again, would you bowl him though?
Sorry?
If you had your time again, would you toss the ball over to him?
I probably would now, yeah. We lost the game, so probably need to do something different. I guess that was just my gut feel at the time, and it's not always going to be right. But that's just the way I saw it out there at that time.
It was a pretty spectacular innings, but is there a sense of regret in that middle overs that even another 10 runs that you guys couldn't get?
Yeah, we probably did let ourselves down a little bit in the middle overs again. It's one area that, particularly in these conditions, that we haven't done so well at consistently, and that was something that we've worked really hard on. So we probably did let ourselves down a little bit there, losing a few wickets in clumps and not being able to get that sort of partnership together to get that score up probably just above par to 170 odd. So that was a little bit disappointing, but I think all the players will learn a lot from this World Cup, playing in these conditions again. It's very valuable, and hopefully we can continue to learn and get better.
Was it impressive? Impressive performance from Shane Watson with the ball and that catch. Can you just give us your thoughts on his final game?
Yeah, I thought he had a pretty good last game. Obviously, there's no real fairy tales in sport, so or very often. So it was a bit disappointing, but Shane gave his all like he did every game for Australia. I thought he bowled beautifully tonight, and it looked like he was 25 again taking that catch. So it was great for him to be able to do that. Just obviously disappointing in the result.
Just to continue on that, both teams slowed down in the middle overs. So how difficult was it to bat in the middle overs in particular, although it was a slow wicket throughout?
Yeah, the wicket just sort of was a little bit slow, and the ball got chewed up pretty quick, so it was quite soft. Although it didn't look too soft when Virat was hitting it. But yeah, it was tough to bat in those middle overs. I thought they timed their run chase really well in the end. They were running lots of twos, hitting the fielders in the outfield and putting pressure on. That's probably where the game sort of turned. They were able to get a lot of twos and put us under a bit of pressure.
Smith.
One more win in 2014. You sense improvement in the team and the format, and do you think you guys are almost ready to make a big statement in T20 cricket?
I hope so. I strongly believed in the 15 guys we had here to do the job in these conditions. I think we let ourselves down against New Zealand. We probably should have won that game. To lose that by 8 was quite shattering. and then we were always sort of chasing our tail from there. We had to win every game that we played, and in 2020 cricket that's quite hard sometimes. It's quite a fickle game, and all it takes is one player going off like tonight to turn the course of a game. But I think, as I said, I think the exposure to these conditions and what we've faced over the last couple of weeks, it's been a great learning curve for all of our players, and hopefully we can continue to improve and get better in these conditions.
Steve, you're talking about what the players can learn, but do you think now, looking back on the campaign overall, that Australia as an organisation, cricket organisation, can learn a bit perhaps about the lead-in to a tournament like this and the preparation you guys had and the amount of players that were used? Is that something that everyone can learn from?
I think our preparation was fine. I don't think we can use that as an excuse. We played 3 T20 matches in South Africa where they tried to make the pitches replicate these conditions as much as possible, which we were thankful for. We had a warm-up game when we first got here against West Indies, so I think our preparation was fine. I guess it was just the execution of our skills out in the middle that let us down.
Just on that, just with all the players that were used as well, and I guess going back, looking over the whole last year leading into a tournament like this where there weren't very many games and so many personnel used.
Well, you have to try and find your best 15, particularly for these conditions. And as I said, I believe we had the 15 to go well in this tournament. We just let ourselves down in key moments.
Smith, in this situation, do you think Virat Kohli and Sachin Tendulkar comparison is appropriate?
Sorry?
In these circumstances, Virat Kohli and Sachin Tendulkar comparison is appropriate?
I think they're different players. I think Virat Kohli is an extremely talented and very good player, and he has been for a long time. I think you just have to see the way he played tonight. He timed his chase to perfection, and he's done that so consistently in T20 cricket. I think he averages 60-odd chasing, which is quite remarkable. He times it really well, and tonight was just another example of that. He played beautifully, and hats off to him.
Steve, do you think with your batting, I guess tonight, for instance, maybe you guys were, a little bit too heavy with the all-rounders, and maybe lacking that extra experienced batsman, maybe like a Bailey or someone like that?
I think we had the right mix. I think it was just some of our execution. The middle overs, I think, is one part of our game that we've been trying to work on. And we know when we get that right that they're a very dangerous side. I guess for us it's just about making sure we're able to find a way to play those spinners in the middle overs. I guess getting off strike, not chewing up too many dot balls, and I guess just waiting for a ball to hit to the boundary. It's tough to do in these conditions. They're very foreign to us, but we've still got to find a way to be successful as individuals, and it's up to each individual to do it differently. We all bat differently. It's just about finding a way to do it successfully. You're right. You're right, I can hear.
Were you disappointed the way Dhoni sort of went up for that caught behind off you? Did you think that played a part, or was it just disappointment in the decision?
Not sure. He might have heard something. I certainly didn't feel anything, but that's the game of cricket. I'll move on from that. I'm sure that'll happen again in my career, so I'm not too worried about it, and got to move on.
Did you feel like you could really contribute there? I mean, it was a situation, I suppose, similar to the other night. Were you sort of looking forward to that challenge?
Yeah, I was. I felt pretty good batting against Pakistan the other day, and I guess T20 cricket you can get a bit of momentum, and I felt like it sort of switched a little bit for me. So it was a little bit disappointing, but as I said, that's the game of cricket, and it won't be the first time, and it's not the last time it'll happen. So I'll move on, and that's it.
Hi, Steve. The kind of start you have got in the early by Khwaja and Finch, were you satisfied with the score?
Yeah, I thought we started off really well. There was a great little partnership at the start there. I think, as I said, the middle overs we probably let ourselves down. I thought 160 was around par, but I think if we were able to get a few partnerships together in the middle, we would have been able to get around 170, 175, which would have been very competitive.
Steve, it would appear that considering your performance in the 2020 World Cup over the last 8 years, it would appear that it's easier to dominate in Test cricket, the toughest format, and one-day cricket, again a tougher format, than 2020 cricket. Yes.
I'm not sure about that. It's all international cricket, and we're playing against the best players from around the world. So they all present different challenges. They're all completely different. So obviously we haven't done as well as we would have liked in T20 cricket, but we're still learning, and hopefully we'll continue to get better at this format.
I only meant it's probably more fickle, much more fickle than other formats. That's all I meant.
Oh, it's very compressed, isn't it? So you can see innings like that, and one guy taking the game away from a team, which I think you don't have, I guess, the luxury of doing in the longer formats of the game quite as much. So pretty serious innings from Virat Kohli tonight to take that game away from us.
See, when you spoke about Virat Kohli, the entire innings was full of orthodox strokes. So is it important to send a message to probably the younger kids coming up that you can score runs even in the 2020 format by just playing proper cricket?
Yeah, and I think he's a perfect example of that. He plays good cricket shots, and he's got quite incredible wrists, and he's able to manipulate where he wants to hit the ball, which is a great skill, particularly in this format. But yeah, I think playing good cricket shots is key, particularly on these grounds here in India. If you hit the gaps, the outfield is so fast, the ball generally goes to the boundaries. So yeah, orthodox cricket shots are very important.